addresses some of the capacity constraints that, post-secondaries, broadly speaking, are facing. So we're looking for some support in that regard as well.
It is not going to be an easy budget for them to figure out whatsoever. Deborah, I appreciate your time, and we'll be sure to follow up with you once we have more details on how this all looks for the city and the province as a whole.
Thank you. I'm just glad I'm not Minister Horner.
That's producer Ryan O'Donnell speaking with Deborah Yedlin, President and CEO of the Calgary Chamber, on her hopes and dreams for the city of Calgary when the budget is released in countdown now. Expected in 3 minutes. To wrap this up, Mayor Jody Gondek also weighed in on what council would like to see for the city.
In our original budget request a few months ago, we included things like the Blue Line extension, the airport connector, the 301 BRT, and that was to the tune of just over $400 million. We talked about a need for a field house. We asked for match funding for housing to the tune of $160 million. But more recently, I can tell you that the budget we passed contains a lot of elements that are provincial responsibilities. It's actually Councillor Dan McLean who very rightfully pointed out today that we should be getting help from the provincial government for things like housing, like the high acuity housing that we're talking about today. So I can tell you that we're still missing over $13 million that was taken out of the police budget several years ago. We are missing $13.5 million for Calgary Fire Department to provide medical response, which is what over 55% of their calls are now. We invested $15 million in transit and community safety. We would love to have a partnership with the provincial government to do that. We invested $6 million in mental health and addictions, which is entirely their responsibility and jurisdiction. We provided $10 million of emergency supports for people in positions of vulnerability. And I would hope that our partner, who's actually responsible for that, would put it into their budget to alleviate the burden on Calgary taxpayers. We also have a government who, at the time of being in campaign mode last year, said they'd be very interested in seeing what the model looks like for the property taxes that are left here for us to provide services to Calgarians. And I would hope to see that delivered in this budget.
Yeah, it's a lot clearer.
Just amazing sound. So, yeah, good on you guys.
Talk on FM. QR Calgary.
No, this isn't the fireplace channel. This is the sound of a modern wood-burning fireplace from Gas Tech. Modern wood-burning stoves and inserts are perfectly legal, highly efficient, and are growing in popularity. Gas Tech provides complete installation services, from mantle work and tile to strict safety testing, so you can be cozied up next to the warmth of a natural fire in no time. Financing is available, so stop by their showroom at 4703 Bowness Road Northwest or visit gastech.ca.
Game all day at Cowboys Casino, Calgary's adult playground. The best spot in the city to watch Flames games inside our legendary sports lounge. Pre-game, post-game, table games, arcade games, and more. Cowboys Casino. Eat, drink, play.
Fairplay Wild Bird Center is your one-stop shop for all things with wings. Looking to invite a variety of wild birds to dinner? Put seed cakes and garden-friendly nut logs on the menu and see who stops by. And for a special treat, Fairplay has seed cakes loaded with pecans and bugs. Birds love suet, so we carry a high-protein premium quality suet on sale for just $2.49. Visit Fairplay Wild Bird Center, 2604 Kensington Road Northwest, or at fairplaywildbird.com.
Owning a property is one thing. Managing that property takes a whole different skill set. So trust Barclay Street Real Estate to manage your commercial property or condo community. They can take care of maintenance, accounting, leasing, tax appeals, rent collection, and more. Barclay Street Real Estate treats every property they manage like they own it. And you can rely on their years of experience to make recommendations and help you with problem solving. Ready to hand over the keys and the headaches? See more at barclaystreet.com.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park2Go. Drop off your vehicle at Park2Go and they'll get you to your departure gate in 9 minutes or less. Visit park2go.ca and save with promo code Radio23.
If you're a registered charity that supports children in need, you know that every dollar helps to assist with your programs and services. The Calgary Children's Foundation is now accepting grant applications from registered children's charities in Calgary and area. But hurry, deadline to apply is April 1st. Your charity strives to make the lives of Calgary and area children better, and the Calgary Children's Foundation is here to help you reach that goal. For more info and to apply, go to calgarychildrensfoundation.com.
Now, breaking news.
I'm Brenda Neufeld from the Global Newsroom. The new Alberta budget delivers on austerity as the province's surplus is on paper only. There are several new taxes, but there's also the outline of a promised tax break. Global's Eileen Bell has been in budget lockup since this morning and has details.
Finance Minister Nate Horner has delivered a budget with a $367 million surplus for this fiscal year, lower than the $2 billion that had been forecast. He blames wildfire and drought for draining the contingency funds and an influx of new Albertans pushing up expenses in a number of departments.
It's a number of things, but we could definitely see it coming. We knew budget 2024 was going to be far more difficult.
Next year's budget sees a forecasted $1.4 billion surplus, $2.6 billion the year after that. Resource revenue was down from the forecast last September, offset by higher tax revenue because of an increased population. Alberta's debt grows to $78.4 billion by the end of next year as the province borrows to pay for capital projects. $2 billion will go to the Heritage Fund. $2 billion is being set aside for disasters. A new tax is coming for people who own electric vehicles. Starting next year, they'll pay $200 a year, which is what the finance minister says is equivalent to what other drivers pay in fuel tax. And that would go to road maintenance.
So we just looked at aligning it with the what an average Albertan driver would pay in fuel tax over the course of a year.
Starting Friday, March 1st, there will be a tax increase on cigarettes and smokeless tobacco. It'll be 2.5 cents to 30 cents per cigarette and 7.5% per gram on smokeless tobacco products. If you're looking for a tax break, starting in 2026, there'll be a new income tax bracket of 9% for the first $60,000 of an Albertan's income. That drops to 8% in 2027. Those are both contingent on the province's fiscal capacity. Nate Horner says that meets what Danielle Smith promised when she was campaigning.
I was on that campaign and pretty active, and I know it was promised, and it will be fulfilled. One of the first things we did was re-index the basic personal exemption. So the tax relief that all Albertans saw by doing that in the last fiscal year and every fiscal year that will follow is about $1 billion, $980 million that saved Albertans, and we did that immediately.
43 school projects are going to be announced in coming days, 82% of them in and around Edmonton or Calgary, creating a total of 35,000 new spaces for students. The Edmonton South Hospital is no longer in the province's plans, despite $69 million already having been spent towards it. Calgary will be getting money towards the Blue Line extension of the LRT to the Calgary Airport. The province is putting $7.4 million towards affordable housing, $20.4 million in Calgary, $25 million in Edmonton, and $29.2 million through the rest of the province. Eileen Bell, Global News.
Stay with us for further details on the budget and reaction throughout the afternoon. From Global News, I'm Brenda Neufeld.
Thanks, Brenda. That's a lot of information, a lot of numbers to digest. Let's pop over now live to the legislature, and we'll see if we can get some more updates on the budget just announced 3 minutes ago.
Nice. Mr. Speaker, it is truly an honor to rise in the Assembly today and present Budget 2024. As a third-generation Alberta rancher, I come from a long line of Albertans who have, for decades, witnessed the highs and lows, the booms and busts, and the ongoing evolution of a province that, I believe, has always been the best in Canada. I also come from a long line of Albertans who believed it was their duty to serve others. With a great-grandfather who served as a senator, a great-uncle who served both federally and provincially, and a cousin who also rose in this very room to present a budget a decade ago. Public service is near and dear to my heart. My family instilled in me a sense of duty to others. They led by example, showing me that there is no work more rewarding than making life better for others. Mr. Speaker, this government is committed to making life better for all Albertans, those who have been here for decades, along with those who have chosen Alberta as their new home. Budget 2024 is a responsible plan for a growing province. It's founded on our duty to make decisions that strike the right balance. That means spending on the important programs and services and infrastructure that Albertans deserve and expect. It also means putting money into savings when we can and ensuring the next generation is not burdened with more inherited debt. Mr. Speaker, we've developed this budget at a time when things are looking good for Alberta.
Things are looking good for Alberta. Do you think that's a true statement? 403-974-8255. The budget has just been released about 8 minutes ago. Throughout the show from now until 6 o'clock, we will be checking in with major players in the city and the province to give us their feedback, their takes, their opinion on what's happening, what's being said right now in the legislature in Edmonton. If you heard anything there with Brendan Neufeld and you thought, well, that's interesting, let me know. What did you hear that you thought, that sounds like it could be major? For me, just in the quick snippet we've had so far, the fact that we are spending an incredible amount of money, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on wildfires and drought, and that is taking from the surplus, that's a huge story for this province, because that means right now we're tackling it from the wrong direction, where we are being responsive instead of being proactive in those areas. So that will be something we will definitely look into more. This is Connect with Sarah Crosby, covering the Alberta budget from now until 6. And as always, love for you to chime in. 403-974-8255.
Severance package? I only owe you 2 weeks' pay.
Think you may be owed more? Find out now at employmentlawyer.ca. Answer a few simple questions, and in seconds, you'll receive free answers for your workplace issues. Go to employmentlawyer.ca, learn how severance is really calculated, and find out how to get what you are legally owed. Always check with the employment lawyer, Lior Samfiru, first at employmentlawyer.ca.
From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't even exist.
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Hey, it's Rob Breckenridge here from Afternoons on QR Calgary. Have you noticed when you're scrolling on social lately that you're missing out on some local news? Facebook and Instagram have blocked Canadian news in response to new government legislation. And that means it's harder for you to access important news in Canada and about your community. To make sure you're not missing out on the news you need, just go to globalnews.ca and sign up to get news alerts delivered directly to you. You deserve to be in the know.
From kegs to casks to bottle caps and beyond. Every Thursday at 4:47 on QR Calgary, the sommeliers of Calgary Co-op Wine, Spirits, Beer take us on a deep dive of the striking complexities and subtle nuances of wine, spirits, and beer from around the world. Join us as we roll up our sleeves to discover what's worthy of going inside the glass.
Inside the Glass, Thursdays at 4:47 on QR Calgary. Presented by Calgary Co-op Wine, Spirits, Beer.
We all know that snoring is an indication to get tested for sleep apnea. But did you know that 60% of people with sleep apnea also suffer from the painful effects of heartburn or GERD? It's a condition that may require medication. Dream Sleep Respiratory reminds you that if you snore and have heartburn, you should discuss getting a sleep study with your doctor. For your convenience, you can visit one of Dream Sleep's 10 clinics across Alberta. Details at dreamsleep.ca.
No, this isn't the fireplace channel. This is the sound of a modern wood-burning fireplace from Gas Tech. Modern wood-burning stoves and inserts are perfectly legal, highly efficient, and are growing in popularity. GasTech provides complete installation services, from mantle work and tile to strict safety testing, so you can be cozied up next to the warmth of a natural fire in no time. Financing is available, so stop by their showroom at 4703 Bowness Road Northwest or visit gastech.ca.
House of Cars is the premier dealership that exclusively sells pre-owned vehicles all day, every day. Get rates starting at 5.9%, 6 months with no payments and no additional dealer fees. Start shopping right now at houseofcars.com.
Well, even on budget day, we must talk sports and Calgary
must.
Flames. We must.
That's what Connect with Sarah Crosby is all about.
We cover all the topics.
So have you ever been out to dinner with your family and you get a really important phone call that you got to go away from your family and take it privately?
Why? What's happening?
Well, that's what happened to Chris Tanev last night when he got the train. So here he is, taking his son and his wife out to the keg, and they're having a nice dinner. And, well, I'll let him tell the rest of the story.
We were like, oh, this might be a good place to take our son. It was really quiet, but we knew he'd eat some steak and veggies, and sort of got the call midway through my meal, and had a bunch of calls after that, and then my wife was able to keep my son occupied while I was gone for a little while, and then came back. We finished our meal quickly and then just got back home.
Yeah, that's nothing like getting your dinner interrupted, right? Hopefully the keg comped his dinner. Well, probably not, but...
Also, this is why no phones at the table. Because look what happens.
Well, good point. Good point. Although, if he didn't have the phone at the table, then he'd be coming home listening to Sports Talk with Chuck saying, shoot, I just got traded.
Can you imagine? Pop the radio on, 107.3 FM. Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, he was asked earlier today with his conference call in Dallas, how he dealt with all the rumors over the last couple of months.
Yeah, it was very different for me because that's never really happened to me and in my 14 years. So, really weird for me the first few months, I think. But the last little bit, I feel like I just got adjusted to it and was just having fun playing hockey and enjoying being around the guys. And I would say earlier on in the year it was a little tougher, but as the year got on, it just was became a daily routine almost.
Now, if you're heading out to a restaurant tonight, you still might run into Chris Tanev because he hasn't left for Dallas. He's not going to be in the Stars lineup tonight against the Jets because has some visa issues, so he can't cross the border just yet. Looks like he's going to be in Calgary for a couple of more days. We'll be joining the Stars pretty quick.
Does he have visa issues or he just doesn't want to leave our sweet city?
Maybe that is the answer right there, Sarah. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Coming up after your 3:30 news, Chris Sims, Alberta Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, jumping on the show to give their perspective on what they've heard from the Alberta budget. What does it mean for the taxpayers? We're going to tell you in just 2 minutes.
This is Global News. I'm Brenda Neufeld. It's cloudy and -5 at 3:30. The province has unveiled its spending and savings plans for the next year. Global's Eileen Bell has details on Budget 2024.
Finance Minister Nate Horner has given Alberta a budget with a $367 million surplus for this fiscal year. That's lower than the $2 billion that had been forecast at one point. He blames wildfire and drought for draining the contingency funds.
It's a number of things, but we could definitely see it coming. We knew Budget 2024 was going to be far more difficult.
The surplus rises to $1.4 billion next year and $2.6 billion the year after that. Alberta's debt grows to $78.4 billion by the end of next year. $2 billion is going to the Heritage Fund this year, and $2 billion is being set aside for disasters. A new tax is coming for people who own electric vehicles. Starting next year, they'll pay $200 annually. That's what the finance minister figures is equivalent to what other drivers pay in fuel tax. Starting tomorrow, there will be a tax increase on cigarettes and smokeless tobacco. 2.5 cents to 30 cents per cigarette, that's $60 a carton, and 7.5% per gram on smokeless tobacco products. The tax break promised in the election campaign will come in 2026 and 2027, contingent on the province's fiscal capacity. Eileen Bell, Global News.
In other news, a man described by RCMP as a prolific offender faces several charges, including dangerous driving causing death, following last weekend's fatal hit and run with a U-Haul van in South Edmonton that left a Fort Saskatchewan woman dead. Mounties say 35-year-old Peter Ashby will be in court at the end of the week. RCMP Superintendent Leanne McMillan says the accused had been wanted for alleged crimes in Edmonton, Spruce Grove, and Saskatchewan dating back to last year, and she calls it a drain on